It's amazing how football changes. 17 days ago, Tottenham were top and Arsenal were bottom.
17 days ago, you didn't come into work.
I think I was on holiday.
It was very early today. Very early this morning.
Funny that, isn't it?
Yeah, he's very early, wasn't he?
I think I had prepaid holiday.
Morning, everyone.
And that's, I mean, there we go. After 3 games, Tottenham hadn't conceded a goal either, had they? And Arsenal hadn't scored one.
That's incredible, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just shows you what 3 wins on the spin does for you. And the momentum completely changed.
That's why football's such a brilliant game, because there's always the next game. And can we turn it around? And can we get better? Can we maintain it as things were? Everything we're going to say good about Arsenal, you know, the other side of the coin is how bad Tottenham were. So it's that sort of thing, is it? Did Arsenal play really well, or just did Tottenham allow them in the first half to play that well?
Everything, what Don's going to show you, everything that we're going to show you that Arsenal did, that Tottenham did bad,
yes,
Arsenal have been doing it all season so far. They flipped it this at the weekend, and they played so well and they did everything right.
So case in point is the first goal, Mark. And Emile Smith-Rowe's first goal. Dion's going to talk us through the offensive side of what Arsenal were doing.
This is Ben White. You know, Kane's trying to pin him. Ben White wants this ball more. He doesn't foul him. You can see Harry Kane, great position. Ben White knows that he can win that one. Just go over the top of him. And then you think, OK, fair enough. We are OK, we've got players behind the ball, but then you need the application to make sure that you're going to defend 2 or 3 passes, and they are in. There's 4 players there against 4. That's wrong in itself. Harry Kane is trying to get back in as well to help his team out. Look at this. How many players are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 8 white shirts in there. You can't allow that to happen.
So this is the poor side of your Tottenham fan watching on. Losing the first header can happen. So Harry Kane doesn't win the first header. That's fine. That happens in a game. It happens 100 times a game. But I cannot understand, Mark, the role that Ndombele was operating in. I cannot understand, as a central midfield player, why he seemed to be occupying this sort of left-hand side. Get yourself in there and go and anticipate the knockdowns. Managers used to drum into us midfield players, anticipate the knockdowns. We used to call it the bits. Go and get the bits, get the 50-50s, put the Arsenal players under pressure. And this, from a Tottenham fan watching on, wasn't good enough. There was no pressure.
And look at the hole there. Look at the hole in midfield.
It'll get worse when we see the clips going on. So we're trying to give Arsenal a little bit of credit, but the organisation. And Nuno left a little bit on, no individuals after the game.
No.
I think he was talking about Ndombele, because he plays him as this sort of trickster going forward. Smith-Rowe had a brilliant game, and he was fantastic, as the young boys have been for 18 months. And that's obviously what he said, the best day of my life. And it probably feels like that for him, because he absolutely ran the show alongside young Saka. But Nuno, after the game, tried to pin the blame all on himself. And he's tried to take a lot of the blame. And I don't mind that in a manager. But there was little hidden messages in there saying the personnel I picked didn't execute my game plan.
He definitely made that very clear, didn't he?
He tells to me that some of the players that he picked to implement his game plan, he didn't pick the right players for that job. Ndombele's one of them.
As a Tottenham player, this morning you have to wake up embarrassed with your performance. You have to, having been in, I've lost badly, Don's lost badly.
But there's a way to lose, isn't there?
Without a doubt. But if you know that you've lost and you've given it everything and it's been a worldie and you've worked hard, the gaffer's never going to have a go at you. You think, well, fair play, I can still walk tall. They were better than us. But Tottenham allowed Arsenal to do that. They allowed Arsenal to win the goal.
Second goal, Aubameyang's goal. I mean, Aubameyang, one of his best performances of the season. He looked really up for it.
Look sharp.
Can I just ask Chris, you run it, Don. Tottenham fans were saying it was a foul from Xhaka and Højbjerg here as the ball comes out from Ramsdale, Chris.
Yeah, it was talked about. I mean, I think he's just used his strength, and where the ball is, it's got to travel a heck of a long way. I mean, is there a clear foul there? I just don't see a foul at all. I mean, he's taking the ball from him and the game continued. It's fine.
All I see there, when you look at that big pitch there, all I see is Emile Smith-Rowe, completely unmarked. And that was the tail of the game for them. It was Smith-Rowe, there was Ødegaard, who was unmarked. They're standing in an area where... Where's the Tottenham midfield? I understand you're trying to put a little bit of a press on. I understand that. You can't allow this to happen. It's incredible, Dion, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how... You've got 3 defenders... and you've got 3 red shirts as well. Now, you should never be matched. Unless you're told to go man for man, you should never be matched. You should always have one over defending. Always have one over. They've got man for man at the back. Dyer's not marking Smith Rowe. Ball eventually finds its way in there, but they're on the back foot again. They're completely on the back foot. Round the corner there, and Smith Rowe, nobody's still there now. No. There's no Tottenham player anywhere near any of those Arsenal players. Great finish into the far corner, but it's just really poor from the very, very beginning, weak.
Yep. Take that back. You see Odegaard, middle of the park.
Sorry, no, that's Odegaard, middle of the park. Yes,
yeah.
No one. Then yes,
green boots on. What I like about him there is his football intelligence, because you can see Saka.
He's checking, isn't he?
Saka wants to come back in here and offer a little bit of help just in case Tottenham win the ball back. Just keep an eye on what he says to Saka. You can see by the communication. I'll run it very, very slowly. Watch his communication. Get up the pitch. Leave me. I'll do this.
Stay away.
You don't need to help me.
Stay away.
Go and take the full-back.
Take him away.
Take him back.
So take Reguilon away.
Saka stays here.
Yeah. Take Reguilon back into
stays here.
Yes.
More space for Odegaard to play in.
And that's what he's thinking. He went. That's what he said to Saka. You take Reguilon back in that area there. You take these guys back in here, and then all of a sudden, you know, the freedom is right in the middle of the park. It's incredible.
How come Ndombele cannot see that? How come Dyer's not telling?
Just going to say, where's the communication?
You know, just tell him midfield player, come and sit on his toes for me. Yeah. That's what you've got to do.
Everything you quite right said at the beginning of this is what Tottenham did bad is what Arsenal did bad against Chelsea when we stood up here at the big screen and showed the same thing.
Correct, exactly.
Showed the same thing.
And this is when you know you're playing well.
Yeah.
Lovely little arrogant flick.
Yeah.
And then Emile Smith Rowe's away. Look at the overload. You know, 4v4. Great finish. And
he was brilliant. He was brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Who was in the stand? He's mimicking his slide.
Big Thierry Henry.
Groundsman won't be happy. Look at those divots.
And then the third goal of the game, Saka's goal, who was just, I thought he was absolutely immense. I mean, you know, credit Harry Kane. He took a bit, which you have to do in a derby. You give the ball away. To be fair to him, though, he's probably the only one that's sprinting back with a bit of tenacity about him, Dion, isn't he?
And he's your captain. He's your number 9 that ends up getting a block. Yeah, it doesn't fall his way in the end, but he actually gets in there, blocks Saka's shot.
Out of position, out of position, out of position. So many of them.
And none of them are sprinting. None of them are sprinting.
It just looked like, well, as you say, either they weren't carrying out the instructions of Nuno or they didn't quite know what their game plan was in the first half.
I mean,
what do you think?
But even when you look at this scenario here, many times in the Premier League, do you ever see a winger really get a defender 1v1 in a real dangerous area? Now, there's normally a player that might be on the cover.
Yeah,
you know, Davinson Sanchez might be able to come across. You might be able to try and help and put a squeeze on. Players might get back into these sort of areas and double up and get numbers. You very rarely see that sort of scenario happening. And all right, when you look at it, Harry Kane give the ball away and slipped at the top end of the pitch, but he's trying, like you wouldn't believe, to try and do something positive.
That's just unlucky from Kane.
That's all that is.
Look at these.
Yeah.
They're just walking. It's kind of embarrassing. Who's that, Don? Who's that there?
Son's there.
Son's there.
I mean, Ndombele's in the middle of the park.
Yeah. The Ndombele thing is really interesting because at the beginning of the season he just wasn't in the Tottenham plans, and now suddenly he's in the North London derby. He's a very talented player, but it just seems to slightly sum up the approach at Tottenham in the last few weeks after the good start of the season. Well, they played well against City, but they're a bit lucky to win against Wolves. But they've had 3 London derbies in a row where they've been comfortably beaten. They don't quite seem to understand what the plan is.
But even when you look at it, right, and I played under Howard Kendall, and Howard Kendall used to do a drill where as soon as you give the ball away, or as soon as it's a free kick, he used to practice and get our players to go hand on, so you touch the ball, everyone's alive. Hand on is a signal for everyone to be alive. You watch Ndombele in there. You watch
Dele? Dele at the top of the
Lucas
screen?
Moura. Looks like Dele Alli.
Dele at the top of the screen.
You keep an eye on those 3 guys in that sort of little area here. These 3 players in this little area. You keep an eye on the lack of intensity
to get back
in, and I'll put it really slow because 1 or 2 might just go out of shot. So Lucas Moura middle, walking. Dele Alli walking. Son's just gone out of shot, walking. Ndombele's on a jog. Harry Kane recognises I've given the ball away. I'm in trouble. Danger. I'll try and get back in. Top of the pitch though, there's nothing. Moura's still jogging. They're not even past the halfway line.
No.
You know, and this can happen. This you can get fortunate with this, but they deserved their fortune. Arsenal. They were fantastic.
No, they were good. They were good. Very good. He was excellent too, young lad.
Well, also you talk about the 2 academy boys scored, which of course every club every fan of every club loves their academy boys to come through and play well. Of course they do. So it's 3-0 at half-time. So it was a question of the second half of Arsenal managing the game. Could Tottenham get back into it? Tottenham fans will point to maybe a couple of unlucky moments. Harry Kane, should he have had a penalty? It looks to us as if Ben White did foul him in the box in the second half.
I think where the referee is on the pitch, Craig Pawson, that's his decision to make. I think it's one of those where, yeah, there's contact and he goes down fairly easily. I think if he'd have given a penalty, it wouldn't have been overturned. And I don't think it's one for the VAR to get involved with, really. He goes up ground very easily there. The referee's in a great position. It's very difficult for the VAR to intervene. So on this occasion, there's also the question, was it inside or was it outside? But the referee makes that decision.
Do you know, as a player, Chris, to help the referees and the VAR team, me and Dion have both played up front, look at the direction of the ball. It's very unlikely that Ben White is going to shank it to his left-hand side.
I agree. I think it was
so
a penalty.
Harry Kane, ball into him. He's taking it outside of his left foot. So the direction of the ball suggests that Harry Kane's took a nice touch. Ben White's not going to shank it there.
No.
So 9 times out of 10, you'd lean towards that being
and
a penalty.
I think if he'd have given a penalty, it certainly would have been overturned.
Free kick, that edge of the box or penalty is definitely caught him, definitely.
They had a few chances in the second half. Son got one back. I mean, they were always going to come on a little bit more, weren't they? Because Arsenal didn't need to push, did they? So this was always likely to happen.
Yeah, but you know what, Mark? When you're 2-0 down, you're 3-0 down, it's easy to play when you're 3-0 down. So you see a reaction.
Yeah, this is a great chance.
Yeah, you see a reaction, but that's only natural because there's only 2 ways you can go at 3-0 down. You chuck the towel in and get done 6.
Now, this is a really good save, isn't it? Because it's a little deflection.
Incredible save.
It's in stoppage time.
There's a shot of Ramsdale from behind where you see him actually touch it, look over his shoulder. He's watching it. He's in midair. It's absolutely incredible.
That reminds you of a bit of Man City, doesn't it? When you see Edison and you see Diaz
correct,
and you see all high-fiving.
All together and stuff.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
What was the game? What was the game, Mark? About 3 weeks.
Look at that.
Mark, what was the game about 3 weeks ago when Arsenal lost and Arteta came out and he said that was the best week of my life?
It was after the Man City defeat.
Man City game. And he said it was the best learning week of my life because he understood about the players inside the dressing room and which ones are going to kick on for him.
Sure.
Look at the reaction now, 3 wins on the spin. And look,
well, he's got his summer signings in the team, which is he didn't have before the international break. He's changed his goalkeeper. They know what they've got to do, Arsenal. I would imagine Arsenal's target now has to be top 6, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It has to be top 6.
But now the problem for Arsenal is
match those expectations.
That is it.
Right. The bigger story, clearly, is Tottenham. What on earth now? Harry Kane hasn't scored this season in the league. What on earth happens now? They've got Villa next, a seriously good team.
And you're hearing things on the radio now. People are saying, I don't want to see Harry Kane play in a Tottenham shirt anymore. Yeah. He's not doing anything for us. Where is he, a forward or a midfield player? The more he plays now for Tottenham, the less money that Spurs are going to get for him because he's not playing as a centre forward and he's not scoring goals. For me, Harry Kane will always try hard. He will always give you everything. But I don't think he's enjoying his football.
I agree. I think that's what you see. You look at the games with your eyes and you see what you see and you see him playing on the left-hand side, you see him dropping in. You want Harry Kane scoring goals. He'll get back to scoring goals, that's what he does.
Correct.
But there's a little element of what if. I don't think it's just him that's the problem. Let me tell you that. I don't think it's just him.
It's a bit.